12 p.m. regular meeting. If you need to speak to someone that's in the audience here, please step out into the foyer and have your discussion, and you're more than welcome to come back in. Byron, could you lead us in an opening prayer, sir?
Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day of life. Lord, we just ask you to put your loving hand over this meeting, be with each and every person here and their families. It's in the precious name of Jesus, I pray. Amen.
Amen. Dan, please.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We'll take a roll call, ma'am.
Trustee Fleshman.
Yes.
Trustee Weber.
Yes.
Trustee Fuller.
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion to accept today's agenda. Can I get a second?
I'll second that, sir.
Discussion? Hearing none. Roll call?
Trustee Fleshman.
Yes.
Trustee Levens.
Yes.
Trustee Fuller.
Yes.
No one for the Sheriff's Department, Byron?
No, sir.
A couple new faces, but, so we will go to public comments. I know there's a couple people that said they had something that they wanted to say. If you would come up to the podium and give your name, it would be greatly appreciated. We'll give you 3 minutes, and we won't I'm sorry, sir? How much time do you need?
If we just don't interrupt you, you say what you're going to say.
We're going to let you get what you have to say out, and then we're going to respond back to you. So,
Mr. Chairman, we had a lovely lady that
Yep.
came in first, and then we'll put you second because she came in before you did, and she's going to speak, and then you'll have your chance. Ma'am, if you join us at the podium.
I'm Cindy Gregory. I live on Richmond Road, and I have a problem with dead cars in a lot in somebody's yard. I brought some photos that a neighbor and I took. I want to know what we can do about it.
Okay.
I mean, because I walk out my door every morning, and it's like a car lot junkyard across the street. And that's been going on for about a year. And it's really an eyesore, especially if you want your property value to go up. It's not going to with all the junk in this guy's yard. He's got an engine puller, a burnout car. He just brought another one in last night. I mean, got a commercial truck parked there, big old dump truck that has squashed the culvert. Is that what they're called? Those
Yes.
yep.
pipes has squashed the culvert going into the driveway. I mean, it's a mess over there.
I'll go first.
Okay.
You came to the right place. You say you have pictures and you have an address and everything, and Nicole is our young lady right there who's been helping us today. She would be the person that you would want to take that all to. You and anybody else, you're more than welcome to bring things down here. We are just 3 trustees. We have our road department that's out there checking lawns, and so they give us information sometimes and everything, and we're doing our best to pick up on this. And it's one of the things that's a hot topic right now that this board definitely wants to do, is get these type of places cleaned up. Nobody wants to live next door to that.
No, I want to
so
walk out and look at it.
That's going to be what I wanted to tell you, and then I think John has something he'd like to say.
Knowing me, I always do, right?
No, it's fine.
So when you go down.
You said it, I didn't.
When you're going down, that's on the left side, is that correct? That would be the north side of the street, because your street goes to the east.
I'm on the left, the house is across.
Oh, so it's on your right-hand side, okay. So I knew there was some places, there's a road that goes off of that goes back, and there was someone back there that had that Cantley's or something over in that area, is that correct?
Yeah, this is off of Richmond.
Gotcha, so Richmond, okay, so,
It's where it dead ends into the school.
oh, okay, yeah, I'm a total different place. So, you say it's on the right, is that the gentleman that used to be a trustee, I can't remember his name, is that his old property?
Mr. Seeker?
Yes.
Yes.
So someone's bought that property, or is it a
It's not
rental?
his property anymore. They did sell it a year ago
Okay,
to a couple, and the very first thing they did was bring in, there's 10 junk cars
So-
in his yard.
One of the things, can you see who owns that property? Do you know the name of the people that are there?
I can look it up. Did you call in last week about it?
No, the neighbor did.
Okay.
And she couldn't be here, so I told her I would come and speak for both of us.
I sent that to zoning, because for the, like, all the semis and, or the box trucks, whatever that are parked, like, on unapproved surfaces. I sent that to zoning. So I'll follow up with her about it, but as far as all the other junk cars go, I think, if I remember correctly, I think when I was talking to her, she wasn't sure if the vehicles were inoperable.
Well, one sitting in front of the house burnt up. I
Oh.
doubt very seriously if it works.
Then that could have been a different conversation, but yeah, I can take care of the junk vehicles, and the box trucks that are on unapproved surfaces, Tony can take care of. Is this is not the same property with the roosters, correct?
With the roosters?
Yeah. Or is it?
Well, they have a barn bigger than a chicken house bigger than my shed,
It was
so,
all like that.
yeah,
Okay, I know which property you're talking about.
okay.
So one of the things that, and I'm saying this for everyone at home as well, I've been blessed to be able to be the trustee for 13 years. And many years ago, we started seeing these issues, and we put something on the ballot one time that we would be called a Royal Township. And what that would have done is allowed us to be able to, instead of turning it over to Franklin County, we can implement these issues and take charge ourselves. We can't change laws, we can't make new laws, but a lot of people feel that it is like an HOA, that it gives the board too much power. So the steps that we do now with what Nicole does is she will get with the county and the zoning and go through that method and et cetera. Please feel free to let the board know where we are and how it's going and et cetera. But some of this takes time because it's going through the county. But again, as your board, I do go through different areas. I try to take different routes here just to check on things. So a lot of times we wouldn't know that this was a problem until someone tells us. So I thank you for coming in.
You have anything, Brenda?
I just say anytime you have a problem, always either give one of us a call or call up and talk to Nicole about the zoning issues, because she's really good at getting those things taken care of.
Thank
Okay?
you very much.
Thank you for coming in.
On your way out, all three of our business cards are in the lobby. If you'd like to pick one up, you'll have our numbers.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, sure. Okay, young man, it's your turn.
And you can stay for the whole meeting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Got a bad back.
Okay, join the crowd.
Yeah. Why I'm here is the fire levy.
Can I get your name?
Dan Richard.
Thank you. Go ahead, sir.
Okay, the fire levy that just got defeated. I
Okay,
own several properties in the township off Brown Road. And my concern is, I just got a letter from my insurance company about the property taxes. It's gonna go up. And I tried to get an explanation from him in regards to why. And he said it was something about the fire rating, which I didn't understand. That it's rated somehow, and that's how they determine what your
Risk.
homeowner's insurance is.
I don't mean to interrupt you, but I don't think your property taxes are going up. I think your coverage for your
I
fire
didn't say
protection.
property tax.
I thought you
I
did
said
say
insurance.
property taxes.
Homeowner's insurance,
So that's exactly right.
yeah.
And we've been preaching that every time we put a levy on, that this was going to happen if we don't pass the levy, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
So go ahead. I didn't want to interrupt you, but I was get confused
no, I understand.
because you did say property tax, but go ahead.
I'm sorry about that, no, the home, well, I said my insurance company.
Okay, right.
That, anyway, my insurance is gonna go up, and it's gonna go up quite a bit. And he was tried to explain, and he didn't know exactly about the fire rating. And I didn't understand what he was talking about. Can you explain how it's rated?
You probably
Sure.
can.
So the way that this works, your risk value, they assess you, can't say the word. They value your home and the risk based upon a couple factors. Just like a car, if you have a car, your driving habits and things of that nature, if you're a good driver and you have no accidents, the price comes down. The further you have either a fire station, or let's say we lay off half of the police department, the risk associated to the insurance company for your property, if you have a fire and this station is closed and we have to come from another location to your location, a fire grows in size. What is it?
It doubles every minute.
It doubles every minute. So for every minute of a fire, it doubles. So a home that could have been repaired maybe now can't be repaired. So now the insurance company has to pay out a full payoff versus maybe just replacing the kitchen. Because if it's going to take us 6 minutes to get there when it could have taken us 3 minutes or et cetera, who knows the time? I'm not going to put that out that it takes us longer. There's a lot of factors involved in that. So everybody in the township is going to be, and did you get one of these in the mail?
No.
Okay, so I did this myself to try to explain to everybody. I sent this to every
Except
register.
for the levy?
Yes.
The thing that's put on.
Yeah, so this was for the levy. So the type of levy that we put on that failed the last couple times, the last time it ran, it failed by 33 votes. This time it failed by like 160. How,
Where did it fail at?
well, it failed when people went and vote.
No, I'm talking about as far as the township, what areas?
Does
I
it,
know, I looked on one of the last times, I can't remember if it passed or failed, that I think it failed, and it had a map of the township,
yes,
and where it was blacked out is where it failed, and it gave, I couldn't tell you what the votes was, but it says the votes was yes and no, and it was blacked out.
so the chief was so good to send us that map, and it looked as if every precinct failed by 20 votes, coming to 160 votes. It doesn't help when somebody sends out flyers like this that says massive tax hike, which was lies, because you can only use fire monies for the fire levy. The type of levy that we were running was called a township-wide levy. We had to do away with all the current levies and have just one new one.
So you was going to drop the old levies and institute the new millage? Okay.
So what happened is you have places like the casino, all these other places that have annexed out of the township since 2004, they were going to have to pay as well. So it would be advantageous of me to say, who sent these out? Who is it going to, did they have a reason to send stuff to eschew the views that it was going to affect? The levies now that it failed is going to do two things. It's going to hurt people that need fire service by a little bit more time. What they probably would have paid, this would have been the last levy we ever needed, because it would have driven the prices down every time people annex. Every time people annex now, we lose that little bit out of our budget. We cannot collect more than the $6.2 million, I believe it is, that we had on our fire levy. So the more people paying, the less eventually all of us would pay. Now we're going to see, just like you coming in, I haven't got my statement yet, but it's coming up, and I'm interested in what my property is going to go up from State Farm, because they're going to do that. This was highly publicized. These insurance companies know that this failed.
So I got one is you're good.
Sorry, Chairman, for explaining it so
Can I
long.
ask you, since I'm talking about Brown Road, the fire trucks or whatever they're called, who would respond to that area?
So we have what is called mutual aid. The closest piece of equipment with mutual aid, it could be Columbus,
Where would they
Grandview.
be coming from?
Well,
You
that
have
just,
to give me a somewhere.
well, if it's
time
Franklin,
limit
if
on-
it's Franklin Township, we would be coming from the middle of the township up off of Sullivan Avenue. behind the casino,
So that one runs
all the way down
this
here.
area? Okay.
Right. But if there's another piece of equipment closer, the dispatcher has GPS and they know where a closer piece of equipment, they would take that run. But not always is there a piece of equipment closer. Now, let's just say the station up north is already on another run. Then they have to go to another fire station, Grove City, Columbus, Grandview, Prairie. You know, it can take longer depending on the circumstances. We can't control the circumstances, and by having
Well, I
one,
understand that. But
and
what
by
I-
having one
what I'm
station
trying to get at
closed,
is how long, whether it's an emergency run because there's something wrong with me or my house is on fire.
sure.
What roughly the time element to Brown Road?
There's-
89, Brownlee?
Well,
Greenlee?
there's not a real set mathematic figure that you can give because circumstances.
I understand.
So in a perfect, it's definitely going to add a few minutes to a run without having a station here. But again, if we're running from up there on Sullivan, then we know it might be 2 minutes longer. Is that close to being
How
true?
long does it take fire,
Right.
from Sullivan Avenue to get to Brown Road? Because I.
4 minutes?
Made a statement, and I Google searched and not questioning him. I can't remember where it was, because it said fire doubles every 30 seconds. He said fire doubles every minute. So if it takes that station on Sullivan Avenue to get there, how,
I would guess closer to 7 or 8 minutes.
so my house is burnt down.
That's why your insurance is giving you a greater risk.
I understand. I understand.
We did our part. We put it out there to
You have
be
to get that
voted on.
excavated.
I'll give you, and just so that people
I
know,
want to see the one.
the Board of Trustees didn't put this out. I did this as a resident. I did this on my own. I covered my own cost and mailed it out. So I wanted to give my 2 cents and explain exactly the concerns that you're bringing in here today is what I tried to let people know. So I'll put it right here.
Okay. And you live, what road you,
I'm all the way up north off
Okay,
of,
you live
by
up north.
70 and Wilson.
okay. Gotcha. One other thing I'll bring up is that I know a couple firefighters from Columbus. And they informed me, I see you guys, you three, that the city of Columbus was going to take over the fire department
No.
and take all the men. I don't know how that worked or whatever, but they was going to do that. And it was supposed to be a done deal, except for the trustees denied that request or whatever.
It's not true. None of that's true. So they're, I can just categorically
Well,
deny.
one of the information I got, it come from an assistant chief of city.
Okay.
I don't think, I'm not saying the one way or the other, but I don't think he'd be lying to me.
Okay,
Well-
well,
Can I say something?
sure, go ahead.
Well, I don't see how they would take our firefighters and our medics because they're getting ready to close their own station. Am I correct, Bob? Station 26? I think it
They've
is.
been browning out.
So,
I
yeah,
just saw the
they're,
news the
they're,
other day that they're building 2 more new firehouses.
they're having issues of their
Well,
own.
I understand that.
That they can't afford equipment or anything else. So it was very important that the residents of our township understood that we really needed to pass this levy. And eventually it would have made our tax rates lower because Columbus would start paying their fair share. But there was so much stuff out there against us.
But you're saying, on your, what do you mean their fair share? I don't understand that.
Well, okay, so when they annexed into the city, that amount got passed on to us, the other residents
Right.
in the township, okay?
Yeah.
So now that it's annexed, and they were paying $5,000 a year for property taxes, okay, so Now, this piece of property is
Cutting
worth
them
$10
off.
million.
This is it.
Sure.
Bad
How
enough.
much property tax do you think they're gonna pay on $10 million?
Unless they
That's
give
how
them
that
tax
would have
abatement or
helped us.
whatever to annex and.
Right, so had we passed this levy, they would have started paying. The casino in itself would have paid $906,000 a year.
Are you getting any money from the casino now?
Okay.
No.
All right.
We got to
If
move
we're
on.
going to have to move on with the meeting. If you'd like to stick around, we can have these conversations after the meeting's over.
Well, I mean, most of my time, you give 3 minutes, was taken up by you guys, especially him.
Sir, I gave you way more. So I'm going to ask you to have a seat.
I understand.
Okay?
Yeah.
Thank you. And I'm happy to stick around here as long as you want and debate this after the meeting's over. All right?
Here's the information.
So we're going to move on to the road department. Mr. Stevens couldn't be here today for personal reasons. And so we are skipping to under Jim C. And Brenda is going to take over.
Okay, I have a motion for the appointment of clerical lead position. Be it resolved by the Board of Trustees of Franklin Township, Franklin County, Ohio, that the board makes a motion to appoint Robin Watkins to the clerical department lead position as set forth within Article 22 of the collection bargaining agreement with the Teamsters Local Union 413, January 1st, 2026 to December 31st, 2027, effective Sunday, May 3rd, 2026. Can I get a second?
I'll accept the motion as read. Can we get a second?
I'll second. I have a question. We had Sunday on there. Is there,
It's the beginning of payroll.
okay, that's what I want to know. Okay, I'm good.
Anything else?
Nope.
Ma'am, you have anything? I know you read it, but did you have any comment? Can we get a roll call, ma'am?
Trustee Fleshman.
Yes.
Trustee Fuller.
Yes.
Trustee Blevins.
I'll abstain. So we're going to now move to the fire department. Anybody that would have had any questions for Mr. Stevens, I'm pretty confident he'll be in tomorrow, and you could reach out to him through the road department. Leave your number with Nicole, and he's real good about returning phone calls too. So, Bob, sir, if you want to come up, sir.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
Afternoon, Bob.
Just have some runs from April, 539 total runs, 11 fires, 2 cardiac arrests. Neither were brought back to life before the ER. Doesn't mean they didn't live. They're just not on in our trucks. The only other thing I had was a motion to place firefighter Thomas Hilliard on FMLA when his twins come sometime in June.
You gonna read it, ma'am?
It's a motion to authorize Thomas Hilliard to apply for FMLA. Be resolved by the Board of Trustees of Franklin Township, Franklin County, Ohio, that the board makes a motion to approve employee Thomas Hilliard to initiate the application process for leave pursuant to the FMLA, which is the Family and Medical Leave Act, with anticipated leave commencing on June 25th, 2026, subject to compliance with all applicable policies, procedures, and documentation requirements under FMLA.
I accept the motion as read. Can I get a second?
I will second.
Discussion? Hearing none, can I get a roll call?
Trustee Fleshman.
Yes.
Trustee Blevins.
Yes.
Trustee Fuller.
Yes.
Does anybody on the board have any questions for Bob?
I just want to thank you and the firefighters. I know that they must have felt pretty hurt and let down by not being able to open up this station. I know that their heart is in serving the township.
Brenda?
I would also like to say thank you. I was there when they got the news, and it wasn't pretty. You know, they were very heartbroken. But sometime in the near future, we'll look at doing this again.
Quick question. I know we have somebody out on light duty, and then now, and I do the payroll, so I sign off. How is this gonna hurt your rotation or your units and everything like that?
Different unit days, typically, birth of a child, depending on the person and just how long they decide they want to take off. But it might cause a few shifts of overtime depending. It does fill that hole. If they don't already have two people off, then his position would end up filling that hole, and they can't take any more time off to cause overtime, so. Different unit days.
I don't even know if I'm allowed to ask this, Robin will correct me if I'm not. Would this be, and it doesn't matter, I want them to have it off, but would it be what they call intermittent, or is it a straight shot of those days?
So it can be either.
That's up to them probably, right? Like I said, I'm not trying to get my nose where it doesn't belong,
Yep.
but I was just
It
curious
just
how it
depends
worked.
because she's having twins.
Sure.
They're gonna come early. That's the last day there in June that she's expected, actually the due date, but she could go as early as next week.
Sure, we wish them, I wish them, and I'm sure the
So
other two.
depending on how her health goes, it
Sure.
could be intermittent. Usually it's just,
Well, before I even ask the questions, we all passed it because we want nothing but the
Yeah.
best for them.
For
Is
sure.
there anybody in the audience that has a question for Bob? Seeing none?
I just wanted to say to everyone who did vote for the levy, thank you. Your support doesn't go unnoticed. We're still here, we're still running out of solvent, fully capable, so please be patient down here when you call 911, just like you have been for last year, and we'll do our best.
You always have your back.
Thank you.
Bob, you said last month we had 11 fires in the township, correct?
That's just 11 fires. We went to
Okay,
building fires.
gotcha.
They're not necessarily
In the township, gotcha.
I didn't divide them to see which was which, but.
Okay.
Yep. I think you might want to stick around in case this gentleman wants to have a conversation at the end with us, if you don't mind today. Byron?
Sir? Let's see here. I will have the April stats next meeting. They didn't get completely sent, so rather than do it twice and break them up, we'll just do it all at once. A little update on that text message you guys got this morning. What I know and can share, so there was basically 5 juveniles in a stolen car that crashed over here at the BP. When the officers got there, there was nobody there, but they had video. Those individuals were detained down at the certified because apparently somehow there was something about an alleged kidnapping or something. All 5 were taken down to the detective bureau, and they are filing the charges on, I want to say, all 5. I mean, it'll be closed for a minute. I don't know how long it takes to redo the gas pump, but it's probably not the same day. Unless they use Amazon, I guess. Almost went up to you. New officer, so we have an officer going through the background phase. He is scheduled for a polygraph next week, so at the next meeting I'll have more definitive information on that one. The cruiser sale, we did not hear back from the first individual, so we went to the second one. I left him a message Monday, spoke to him yesterday. He does want the vehicle. He is arranging payment, and we're going to coordinate that with Nicole, since she's the notary, on a time that we can get that wrapped up in the next few days.
Great.
Randsburg DOT, I wish Jim was here to help me explain it. So when he spoke to the gentleman from ODOT or the email, this other department is within ODOT, and he was going to petition them to see if they could do something more than he could authorize. So I don't have a specific contact to overstep or go around him at this point to do that.
So we're going to go at it from a different angle. We're going to go after it more or less from a safety intersection
Yeah.
type of a situation, as opposed to a road thing. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
I know you do, but, so I'll just put it back on, and Jim will probably be here next time. That work?
Yeah,
Perfect.
and then we can also work with the property owner to try to come up with a solution if that doesn't pan out.
Sure.
Like I'm missing something, but I don't have anything else listed.
I got a quick question for you, Byron. Anything on the railroad ties being stowed?
No, it was sent to Nicole to send to the rep. As far as I am aware, they have not filed a police report. So I don't know how the railroad kind of views that. I don't know if they're of the mindset of we just cut our losses kind of thing.
Sure.
But we'll keep an eye on it. We've also been keeping an eye on the stop signs. There's been conversations at that business where the truck video was to let them know what that is, and you have to stop at those. So we're working on that.
Sure. And then under stats, we'll get the Jackson's patrol stats at the same time at the next meetings.
Yes, those will all be included in that.
You have anything,
Yeah.
sir?
So on the railroad ties, were those the ones off of Peabody?
Yes.
And the ones, those that were stacked up, I thought those were the old ones. So maybe that's why
Yeah,
they didn't
I
care.
don't know if they're old, and the railroad just kind of used that as a storage spot for them.
From, well, when they were going down through there, they had a machine and they were taking them out and they were
Okay.
stacking them up and they put new in. I assume those were old. However, I did notice that they left a break in where you come around Peabody and the next street. You could back a truck in there, and obviously someone probably thought, I'm gonna help myself, even though it's wrong. They probably wanted to help themselves to it. So,
Yeah. So I mean, if the railroad does want to pursue it, we need a victim who's willing to,
sure.
Well, we had I don't know if you know or not, we had a resident send us footage from his house of people stealing them.
Wow.
And I
Okay.
sent it on to Byron.
Yeah.
And
Sure.
that's how, like I said, I don't know who makes the judgment. If you got something on your property that can be considered junk or not, they're going to come on and steal it. So-
Absolutely, but I'm surprised, did he call when he saw it, or was it after the fact when he saw
Oh,
the
no,
video?
he sent it to me.
Yeah.
And I sent it to Byron.
No, I didn't know if someone would have called in the act.
Oh.
Because
I
those
think
things
he
are
checked-
heavy.
It was his camera like ours.
And then you check it later
Yes.
and, gotcha.
So you have anything, ma'am? Nothing? Anybody in the audience have anything for the chief? You got lucky.
all right, well,
Yeah.
take it where we get it.
You know, it's something, Mr. Chairman, that we were able to see a video of that, but when we look over there in that other area over there, I can't think of the street where they dump in that old lot that used to be the drive-in. Oh, what is that?
Ray Avenue?
Ray Avenue. It's like a phantom. How in the world someone can back up there and dump that much stuff, but no one sees a thing? So to think that someone stole something like that, and then here it is on video, we don't even have an idea of a vehicle, we don't have an idea of a person, it just magically appears.
Pretty brazen, that's for sure.
Well, he did check and there was no license plate. I forgot what he said in the
Yeah,
email. There was no tag on the truck
One you can see.
or one that he could see, so.
But that's closer than anything on Ray. We don't even know if they walk and drop the stuff, or if they have a semi, or if they have a rental truck. I mean, it's amazing to me that, I don't know, 100 feet away are all those homes right across the street, and no one ever sees them dump. They just see it afterwards. And we're talking washer, dryers, all the big things that they have. You would think that would make noise, or someone would be going, hey, what are you doing?
Going to move on under old business discussion to draft a policy for the rental agreement for the township hall and property. Did everybody get what?
I did.
Robin and we had something from Julian and Robin put something together. Did you want to speak on any of this, or do you just want your information to stand? I'm fine with it myself. I just I don't like anything that has anything to do with alcohol. I understand it said that I just feel like there should be no alcohol
I
on the
agree.
premises whatsoever.
I agree.
So I just feel like alcohol should be totally removed from any agreement or anything that somebody wants to do here. Even if you rented something out front or the back property or anything like that, I just don't feel we want to be involved with anything to do with alcohol.
I concur, and I think Chief Smith would probably think the same thing if someone, having alcohol, because it tends to make things go sideways real quick.
Yeah, I mean, that's perfectly fine. That's why I sent it to you guys to like take a look at it and decide if there was things that you didn't want to see on, because our attorney had sent us over the sample from Jerome, Township. So I basically just kind of mirrored that because that was the sample that the attorney provided. And then let you guys kind of go through and decide, what was acceptable or not. I guess my question is, if you're good with this agreement and I extract anything related to having alcohol on the premise, we currently have the Southwest Area Commission utilizing this space. So once I bring this back to the board for approval on the final version of the agreement, then just to think about today, having that committee sign this agreement. And then there's also the part about the fees. Doesn't mean that we have to charge this organization fees.
That was
You just waive it, because you just have a mark that says rental fee waived. But I just want to make sure you consider that conversation when we get to the next phase of this, when I bring it back for your final review to pass the motion or pass a resolution around the agreement, that you just, how you want to handle the area commission that's currently already here, as far as the fee part of it, because you guys have to make that decision.
That was my main concern is, I know that pertains to City of Columbus, but since I've always looked at it as how we're can't even speak, with the township and et cetera, some of the things that go in hand, and they've been using the facility for 3 years now, or 2 years?
At least 2.
And did we want to, I would personally think that we would waive that for the majority of the time that they are here. I don't know if they are seeking another place being built or something. I remember some conversation up here that they may be seeking somewhere else. But they are the only person that is currently using this space. I think the township gets it's the township, in my opinion, is given back because we're intertwined with them on different projects that go on throughout the township.
Yeah, so the fee waiver eligibility, it says religious, civil, educational, charitable, governmental, or other similar nonprofits may request a waiver subject to approval by the Board of Trustees.
Sure.
So that's just something to think about. But I just wanted you'd asked me to reach out to Julie to get her guidance on it, and she sent back the sample. So I want to at least give you a footprint to start with, and then I'll put it on if you guys would like, we can put it on the agenda for the next meeting, and I'll have that alcohol and stuff removed.
So Ms. Watkins, is there a resolution already crafted with that, if the alcohol is the only thing?
I don't have anything today because I kept
It was just on for discussion.
for the discussion piece of
Okay.
it, just because I wasn't sure where everybody stood with it. And this gives an opportunity for everybody to talk about it, and then I can, and then what I'll do is I'll remove those things. I'll send it back out for your review. So when we get together, the next meeting, I'll have a resolution ready.
So are we also on there, do we need to state that it's a tobacco-free?
Yes, I can
It's
make
in-
sure.
it's in there,
It's
isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe so. I'll just make sure to go through, because what's nice about it too is it talks about, damage to the property, putting everything back the way you found it. No disrespect to the area commission, but I come in and all the chairs are all discombobulated.
Wow.
We have to put everything back. And there's no issues for them using the space, but, and there's no trash, there's nothing like that. But it would just be, if you're going to put the chairs back where you found them, just simple little things like that is all kind of incorporated in this, which is nice.
I have a question. Are they using our copy machine?
I can't answer that because we are charged by the use of toner.
That's why I'm asking.
Yeah, I would not have any knowledge of that. I'm not here for their meetings. So that would be a question for their president. I would
Do
imagine.
we have to have a code for that?
Would you not?
So anyone with similar knowledge of press here,
Right, which we have the ability to put codes on the machine. I mean, it would just be like it would only work if we had, it would be just be one code for everybody,
Yeah.
But then if you were an outside person and you don't know it, then you wouldn't be able to turn it on. So just something to consider. But you
So-
have the abilities to do that.
So I'll share with my fellow trustees that Patty reached out to me and we had a conversation, and I'm not going to go through the entire conversation. What I am going to speak about is I feel confident that that I understood her to say that they have paid fees to use places in the past.
Okay.
But because the township never asked for a fee, they didn't pay a fee. And I really thought she was going to be here today. She did say she might not be, but I thought she was going to be here. So I just want the board to know that she led me to believe that there is the ability to pay
Okay.
a fee if necessary. I have no knowledge about the copier or anything else that I'm going to share in the talk of the conversation. That would be between Patty and you other trustees. She reached out to me and I called her back. So I just wanted to share that with you when it came to speaking of the agreement. I thought in the Jerome one, I read that they waive, was there just one example from Jerome? I believe they waive 5 times. They'll waive their for different places. If we may want to be, you want to be a good neighbor or a good partner with people that are in Columbus and stuff like that. But when I compared those and read it, it's not important for now. But I thought I read where Jerome said that they would waive up to 5 different times. But you can't have somebody come in and expect you to give it, if it's once a month, 12 times. You know what I'm trying to
Right,
say and
right.
everything. Especially when she said they had the ability to pay.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, so just something to consider. I mean, I can look into it a little bit deeper and try to answer that question for you about Jerome.
okay, then we're going to move on. Did you want to take the copier conversation, Robin?
Yeah, the last meeting, we were having we had this conversation around the copier, and I brought in the quote from the proposed from the salesperson, and Mr. Fleshman had asked if I could, branch out a little bit more and look at, other models. And so I asked our salesperson to, look into that for us, and he put an email together, and I forwarded that to the trustees to kind of get his perspective on the different models. And he sent some different models, but he still kind of circled back to the reason why he was choosing the particular model that he chose for the cost savings for the township. Because at the end of the day, we really push hard on that, we want quality equipment.
Right.
But, we can't, our budget limits on how much we can spend. And so he put together kind of his reasonings behind it. So I wanted to make sure I sent this to you guys. And with the new model, I mean, we're going to be saving, because like Trustee Fuller was asking about the use of the copier. I mean, we do pay a fee for black and white. It's very minimal. I mean, it's like less than a penny. I mean, literally for the black and white use. The color is where you start picking up a little bit of cost. And going with the newer model, it uses less toner, and so the cost is more effective for us in that. And it also covers maintenance and the toner replacement. Like, they will automatically just send us toner. They'll be able to manage it from, like, it's hooked to the network, so it'll know when the toner is getting low. They'll mail us the toner. Nicole will be trained on how to put it in, or we'll all be trained on how to put it in, not just Nicole. But I forget we have some extra help.
Right.
So pardon me for that. But we can all be trained on how to do that. And so I went ahead and put the resolution together on the originally proposed copier. But if there's, I mean, that's why we're here for discussion with the board.
There is a resolution prepared if no one has any further discussion.
So my only discussion is I looked at the different ones, and I'm not a copier person, but I do know from either you pay now or you pay later in extra cost. Either you're paid up front or you pay it in the end. And with the amount of copies and stuff like that, what I'm going to do is lean on your guys' your expectations of what you need an expert in using it every day. If you think this one solidifies everything that you need, I'm fine with that, but I generally was one who was supportive if we wanted to bump up to I don't want to call it a Cadillac, but one that was a little bit more heavier duty, even though we may not lean on it as much, but in the long run, over the long term, it may save us on wear and tear and maintenance. Has any of that been taken into consideration?
It has been. I mean, the salesperson, they count every page that we send through. I mean, and he's gauging this particular copier off of the volume that we use it. Like, he gave us a number, because he works with multiple businesses and townships throughout
Sure.
the city, and he promotes or sells equipment based on the volume that they use currently.
Sure.
And he's basing it off the number of copies that he's showing in their system that we're running. And this is the model that best fits that. And actually, he said that this copier isn't just at the volume that we're currently at. It can handle more. Because I told him, I said a lot of times, I'm not using this one as much as I could because there was a network connection between my computer and the printer. While he was here, he was able to correct that. It was between the copier and me. And he was able to fix that. And so I have been utilizing it more because it makes more sense. But even with that being said, I said, well, what if I begin using it, because I do most of the printing? He said, it's not going to make this copier any more useful. Like, it's not going to degrade, because you increase your volume, you need to go up to a bigger machine. Like you said, we're still in that threshold of this copier's capacity.
And what do we do with the old one? Is that a trade-in, or do we keep it as a backup?
It would remain with the township because we paid for it.
Okay.
So it is ours. It would still be a part of we could still be a part of, because it's still more cheaper to have them provide the toner, like the black and white and the color. And so it would just be at that point, a decision from the trustee level of where that copier could go. I know Bob isn't here, but I wanted to get his feedback on the fire department.
That's where the last old one went, correct?
Right, and it was pretty beat up.
Right.
I'm not even sure that it's functional anymore. They may have even passed it on to the copier grade.
Bob just stepped back in.
Oh, okay, I didn't know if he left or not. So if you guys want to entertain that conversation with him,
So,
I don't want
you don't want it? Okay,
well, then that stops that conversation.
there you go.
So then it would just be the board's decision on where it would go from here.
Is there any organizations that we are associated with that religious, non-religious groups in the township that may be able to utilize this?
First, I would just default to the next department and see.
Oh, if there was, that's a
Right,
good
if
point.
there was not a use within the township, then I would say you guys could decide from there.
I didn't know if, like, your department, chief, probably doesn't print that much,
No, the one we have works just fine for us.
so we'd only have one other department and see. But, I didn't know if there was by donating it to either a business or someone within the township that would have a need for it. Other than that, we have to just dispose of it.
Right. So we just have to, I can continue that conversation, with the copier people, if they have any suggestions or recommendations.
Or trade-in value.
I was gonna say, don't they have a trade-in program or something like that?
We asked about it, and it didn't seem to be, we didn't get much response on that piece of it, due to the age and things like that most companies are looking for a copier that's within like a year old or something when they're doing a refurbished. And so this one, being 4 or 5 years old, it makes it a little bit harder to necessarily trade it in, is how it was explained to me. But I will keep exploring that for you guys.
So you can get back to us at the next meeting on what we would do if we put this resolution across and it passes, what we would do with the old one and bring it back to the next meeting. Would that work?
Yeah, it's entirely up to the board how you want to proceed, if you want
So
to proceed.
I'm going to say that I'm ditto with John on, I know nothing about copy machines, and so rely on the people that use them and everything, and you would probably only be asking for something that's going to make your guys' jobs move easier and more productive and help the township, and so I would, that would be all I would have to say, and I would be, if Brenda has anything, that's fine, and I would be fine for the resolution to be read after that.
Well, I think that if we go ahead and do this, this is actually going to save us a little bit of money in the long run because the amount of, the toner is quite expensive, but with as far as it goes now with the new machine, it would, I'm not going to say it's going to pay for itself, but it's,
It can be a lot less than that one.
exactly. I think that we need to just go ahead and vote on this and we'll figure out what we're doing with the old one after.
And this new one, as well as I mentioned, Trustee Fuller, as far as putting an access code on it, we can do that with the new one as well. So it can be broke down. You can have more than one, like you can have it by department, you can have it by just one for everybody. So that would again be at the discretion of the board.
Well,
So it does have the functionality to do that.
I think we should because, I've been involved in those meetings and stuff, not with Southwest, but a different commission. And, there's times that they go out into the library to go make copies. Here, well, there's a copy machine, and if there's 50 people in here and they gotta run off 20 pages per person, I mean, that's not fair for the township to pay for something for the city of Columbus.
Sure.
So I would like to see a code put on there for, the employees, staff, and,
I mean, that can be added into this resolution if you'd like, and then I just modify the resolution that says you would like the code added to this copier. Or we can come back at the next meeting and you can do that.
So my question would be, wouldn't that just be something we would add in later? I mean, that wouldn't necessarily be on this
It doesn't
resolution.
have to be, I'm just.
Yeah,
I don't
because,
even think it would even have to be a motion. would it?
no, we
It's
could just
part
say,
of-
if you're the lead, if you feel that your department needs a code on it, put a code on it. If you feel that you don't, you don't. Just like if you don't want it sitting there and you want to put it inside the room, it's up to you. Whatever you desire.
Well, I just think with Trustee Fuller's concern, I think it's legitimate, based on what you guys are saying.
Sure.
I think a code is appropriate. So, yeah, we'll just cross that bridge.
Okay, thank you.
This is Resolution 2026-077. It's a resolution authorizing the replacement of the township copier. Whereas the township has received a proposal for replacement of its current copier with a Toshiba eStudio 3051 AC multifunctional copier. Whereas the proposed includes a 63-month lease at $100 per month plus applicable copy maintenance charges, or we may pay in full at $5,150 as set forth in Exhibit A. Now therefore be resolved that Franklin Township Board of Trustees authorizes the replacement of the current copier and authorizes the appropriate staff to execute the necessary agreement and related documents. Be it further resolved that our formal action of the board concerning related to this resolution were passed at an open meeting of the board, that all deliberations of the board and any of its committees that result in such formal action in a meeting open to the public in compliance with all legal requirements, including Section 121.22 of the Ohio Revised Code. Be it further resolved, this resolution shall be in full force and effective immediately upon its adoption.
Accept the resolution as read. Can I get a second?
I will second.
Discussion? Hearing none, take a roll call.
Can I ask which option you would like to do? Do you want to do the lease or do you want to pay in full?
It's 63 months at 100, so it's cheaper if we pay in full. It's 54? So
51.50.
51, okay, so,
I'm the same like-minded.
yep.
Okay, perfect, that's all.
And that way, I mean, you drag it out, it costs you more.
Yep, I think it's best
Trustee
suspended. Oh, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Blevins?
Yes,
Trustee Fuller?
Yes.
Thank you.
I think that's the best for the people's money.
Right, exactly, because we get the money in, we're supposed to be good stewards, and dragging it out isn't going good.
When you get a chance, Robin, you get caught up with that ADA website compliance?
Yeah. Last meeting, I gave you guys some information. We've been talking about it for the last few meetings around the requirements of all governmental websites being ADA compliant. When I was at the OTA conference back in January, I sat in on one of those sessions and brought that information back to the board from the organization that provided the presentation. And, you'd asked me at this meeting to, I asked you to look over everything at the last meeting, and so based on feedback, I have a resolution, but I want to make sure we don't have to pass anything today. This is all about your guys' discretion on what you read. If you were going to move, I made the resolution around what is considered to be what they consider to be this bronze package, which is what they say it's the $700. And I say that that's where most townships are starting with. So I obviously wasn't moving up into there's a package that's $3,500. You know, I wasn't going that route. But I didn't know what the board thought as you had a chance to read over the material.
I had no questions. I'm glad to hear we're doing the bronze, so that was my only concern. Did you have
Yeah,
anything?
Mr. Chairman, I don't have any more. I would like to put it to bed. I know, Robin, I thank you for the amount of work and bringing it back, and at the end of the day, it's just a website. I get it, so.
You wanna
Yeah,
read the- oh.
I think it's great that we can start moving forward on this, because there is a deadline for us, but we have some time, but I'm glad we're getting ahead of the deadline. So in case there's any hiccups or anything that I gotta bring back,
Sure.
and we have time to work through those. This is Resolution 2026-078. It's a resolution authorizing an agreement with Shoemaker Technology Group, which is referred to as STG, for website accessibility compliance. Whereas the Ohio Auditors of State issued an advisory memo on March the 31st titled New Federal Accessibility Standards for State and Local Government Websites, advising political subdivisions of the new federal requirements pertaining to website accessibility and compliance. Whereas Franklin Township recognizes the importance of ensuring the township's website is accessible to all members of the public and compliant with applicable federal accessibility standards. Whereas the Shoemaker Technology Group has conducted an assessment of Franklin Township's website and presented a variety of service package options to address accessibility, compliance, and ongoing support. Whereas the Board of Trustees has determined that the bronze package offered by the Shoemaker Group best fits the current needs of Franklin Township at this time at a one-time setup cost of $700, and then there's a reoccurring annual fee of $375, which is for hosting and customer support services. Whereas the Board of Trustees understands Franklin Township may revise or update this selected service package in the future should any additional needs arise. Now therefore be resolved by the Board of Trustees of Franklin Township, Franklin County, Ohio, that the board hereby agrees to enter into an agreement with Shoemaker Technology Group for the bronze package website accessibility service as described. The Board of Trustees authorizes the expenditure of the one-time setup fee of $700 and the annual hosting fee of $375, which is hosting support services. It is found and determined that all former actions of the board concerning related to the adoption of this resolution were adopted in open meeting to the public, and the board in compliance with all legal requirements, including section 121.22 of the Ohio Revised Code. This resolution shall take effect and be in full force immediately upon its adoption.
I accept the resolution as read. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
I believe we've already had our discussion. Can we get a roll call?
Trustee Fleshman.
Yes.
Trustee Blevins.
Yes.
Trustee Fuller.
Yes.
Thank you.
I'm going to move on to 4. It's discussion about the electric bikes and the scooters. I brought in today, on my way here, someone reached out to me, and they have dropped these electric scooters and these right in the front yard of some people. And so I have pictures and stuff. And so I, for one, know that we have reached out to Julie, and she sent back, I believe the chief has it. I don't need it back, Byron. That the board has the ability to put something together. And I, for one, because I've had 2 people reach out to me in the past 2 weeks that say there are people that need those and everything. So this isn't for me about banding them all together, but if that was the pleasure of the board, I wouldn't stand in the way. I just don't like them being littered. And then, like I say, I have pictures that I took on my way here today. There's 3 of them just put in the front yard of someone's house down the road here. I believe somebody picks them up from locations. This John said he knows it, that they pay people to go around and move them around and place them around and everything. And I wouldn't want them in my front yard. They wouldn't be there very long. So that would be my discussion on it. Did you?
Yeah, so when these first started coming into our area and the county commissioners approved it, they were allowed in the streets, not on the sidewalks due to their speed, et cetera. One of the things that I sat through is different companies that they were picking out, and the companies, they hire local people that will charge them, do maintenance on them, and then place them. So you got to remember that this is a business. They charge you based on an app. You do your phone, you pay, you hop on it, you're gone. And so it's a business opportunity. So it's no different than a ice cream truck coming down your street versus mine because there's very few kids. So wherever it's most advantageous, they're going to put these. So as Mr. Blevins is saying, I'm like-minded. I believe that this needs to go, if someone's going to want one, it shouldn't be in my front yard for my neighbor to use. It should be on a corner, a sidewalk, adjacent street, somewhere that is non-conspicuous and the litter and et cetera. So I think any actions that we take today to minimize this being just dropped off in people's, in what they call the easement, well, it's my front yard. Call it easement, call it what you want. I'm the one that cut it and keep it clean. I wouldn't want to see that in my front yard. So I think this would be the very first steps of trying to mitigate this and nip it in the bud. And then if that doesn't work, then we just take it to the next step.
Brenda?
Well, I think that they should be kind of like Amazon, how they have pickup locations where you can pick up.
Absolutely.
If you're going to borrow or rent one of the scooters or bikes or whatever.
You go to that area.
You have to put it in a certain place to return it, kind of like when you rent a car.
So let's take your area, for instance. If they worked out an agreement, just no different than the food trucks. You work out an agreement. If they were up there to UDF, they would be lined up somewhere in one of those areas.
Right.
Instead of them putting them in people's yards and laying over and et cetera in your neighborhood. Because if someone was going to need one, what is it, a 15-minute walk, 10-minute walk to UDF?
Yeah. I mean, that's my opinion on that. And other than that, I think if we have to go out and pick them up, I think that we should impound them and we should charge them for each one of them that we pick up out of the street and out of people's yards.
I agree.
Would that be something you would be able to put together, I guess, sum up what the trustees have just said and send it off to Julie and see if she could, or you can draw it up and have Julie read it. Byron may be able to help. Did you have anything on it, sir?
Yeah, a few things. So with going through what Julie said, it looks like we have to keep in mind that the ORC code, which is a 505, I think .17, there is nothing in there that would give the township the authority to charge anything. So we have to be a little bit mindful probably of that. Not saying we shouldn't do it, just keep that in mind that we can't charge them. It doesn't look like. It looks like we can ban them all together. We can certainly round them up, bring them here.
They can't rent them if they're here.
And then the company can come back and get them, but
Right.
it doesn't look like we're gonna have the authority to charge them an impound fee.
We shouldn't be a storage fee or a storage lot for these things. And we shouldn't be using our resources to go around and pick up their trash.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. I mean, we just have to be cognizant that we might be, I'm in 100% in agreement, but we may be having to use our own resources to fulfill that.
But she says that there's no law saying that we can charge it, but there's no law saying that we can't either.
I agree.
So if we passed a resolution up here charging per fee, I don't see why we can't do that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm in agreement with that. If we can, we should, if we're gonna do that.
Yeah, and so to the board, I would recommend a $28 fee per unit that we have to hold. Doesn't sound like a lot, but if you were picking up 10 or 20, or we may want $50.
Or maybe per every week.
Yeah.
That they leave
Yeah,
them
that's a
with
good
us.
point, because for $25, they sit here for 3 months, you're right. So even if, and this is good conversation here so that Robin can take this information back. that was a very, very valid point, is due to the time frame that we're keeping it and we log it in, no different than if your car is impounded and how long does it sit there, it costs you. So then what this does is it makes the company say, listen, this is either they pull it out of this area on their own or they comply and put them in areas that are more conducive instead of, we need to make sure in this resolution, you cannot put them on streets that do not have sidewalks. So they can't put them in people's front yard. They can't be in intersections.
They shouldn't be blocking the sidewalk either.
Right. So they're going to have to find areas that would be more conducive that they can actually set them. They can make their own agreements to put them on different lots, just like U-Haul does, so.
Why can't we give them parking tickets on top of it?
It's
I
not-
mean, it's a moving vehicle.
Well, it's not considered a motor vehicle, so.
You said you
We
ran
can
in,
take it, but there's no law that allows us to write a parking ticket to it.
John said he ran into a guy and he was telling him it was gonna cost him $30 for what he was doing with this one that he was using.
He was
So
going to
my-
the parts store.
My whole thing about that is, once they're no longer collecting fees off of them, they're sitting out back here and no one's leasing them.
Right.
Then they're either going to learn that they're not making money here and move on, or raise their fees to cover our fees, or whatever we're allowed to do, but no one should wake up in the morning and have three, so basically, let's just say, these people opened up a business in their front yard,
Yeah,
in my opinion.
yeah, that's what
Yeah.
it looks like.
Yeah, so,
And
and
so again, not my house, so,
No, I wouldn't leave it in my yard either.
so.
for the people here and at home, I just was running in to get some parts at a Napa store on Sullivan, and this guy, as I pulled up, he comes zipping up, and he had the battery to his truck sitting in between him as he's standing. And I'm like, wow, is that the kind of battery it runs on? I was just being funny to him. He's like, oh, no, my truck broke down and I had to get here. So I didn't think nothing of it. I went in, got my parts. I come back out and he's putting that brand new battery there. And I said, how does this work? And he explained to me, you got to get an app and stuff. And I said, don't mind me asking, but is it very expensive? And he goes, well, by the time I grabbed it, come up here, get a battery and go back, it's going to be $30.
Oh, wow.
I don't know how far he was gone, but I assume it wasn't that far. Couple miles, a mile, I don't know.
Well, they're definitely making money on these things.
Right.
So for next meeting?
Yeah, could you? Even if we don't have it completely resolved, you could always send it out to us like you have this week with different things, and then we could get back to you, and then maybe Julie can finalize something. But at least we're doing something about it.
Absolutely.
That's what we're seeking.
Well, even like
right?
what Brenda said, I mean, I wouldn't have, that's excellent. I wouldn't have thought about that because we had some here that lasted, I don't know, weeks and weeks and weeks.
Yeah, when we first did that, we had like probably 25 of them, and it took about a month
Yeah.
before they bothered to come and get them.
Yeah, they're no hurry.
Oh, something we
You'd
wanted to,
think it would be.
we wanted to share too is Nicole sent them something, and we're going to try to arrange a meeting with this company between Byron and myself. I'll
Sure.
put that on, since I'm down in here and this is where they see, not that you guys don't care, I know
No,
you do.
no,
But
no
I'm
problem.
happy to come, and we'll see if Nicole can set up a meeting. We should have her in on it, yourself and myself, and sit down and talk to them. So we'll try to get that done in 2 weeks' time, so we can report that back at the next meeting also. So, anything else on that? I don't know if she's done at the door. Nicole, are you able to step out yet, or are you busy? Okay, we're down to you, hon. Just wanted to let you know, though, we would like to set that meeting up with Byron, and myself, and you with that company on the scooters. If you could have them come here.
Yeah, I'm trying, so their response to me was just, what's the address that
Yeah.
can come up? And I responded and gave them the vicinity, and I said, but we're more interested in having a conversation about regulation of them within the township. So I'm waiting for a response.
Yeah, just see if they're interested.
Yeah, as soon as I figure out who to facilitate that conversation with, I'll include.
Perfect.
So I actually had already, the Richmond Avenue or Richmond Road, property, the neighbor had already caught in last week, and I already reported it to Kim. So yesterday I had her, or Tuesday I had her send me an update to things that I've reported recently to her. So 1860 Richmond Road, Avenue, I think it's Road. She sent out violation letters already to them. 2079 Frank Road, this was in regards to like a sign replacement without a permit, but it says that they're in compliance. 906 Harrisburg Pike. That is the 614 cars down here. Letters were sent out and they're in their final week until the prosecutor files in court for them. 1620 Harrisburg Pike, which is down here on the right, the impound lot. I guess it used to be the old flower shop. Does everybody know that? Yeah. They sent letters. The owner has responded. They're working with zoning to get a fence permit. I feel like there's more there than just needing a fence, so I'll follow up on that one. 1582 Harrisburg Pike, which is this side of the road, what was supposed to be turned into a rental car, so that hasn't been. Letters were sent out there, and then also across the street, the really long parcel down along Midland Avenue with all the cars, where they're forklifting cars over the fences. Says letter, that case is about to be referred to the prosecutor. And right across the street, where, I guess it used to be an old insurance place or something, and now they're junk cars and towing cars. It's an active case that was referred to the prosecutor. It's been referred again, and most likely it's gonna go back to court for non-compliance. That's where I'm at with my recent reports to zoning.
Did you want to catch the other two trustees? I was here and we had a conversation on 1100 Harrisburg, the house fire.
Where Adam came in,
I'm sorry,
I'm sorry, about.
where
which one?
with the check, for the insurance check?
Oh, yeah, sorry, 1100 Harrisburg.
Yes.
So I went down there and talked with them because, Trustee Blevins said that he had seen somebody at the property. They're very, very nice people. Right off, sorry. Immediately, he informed me that apparently the insurance company, State Farm, had sent the check to Columbus. And Columbus obviously said it wasn't them, so Robin has spoken with them since and has gotten all that figured out. They are sending the check to us for the demo lien. They are mowing and cleaning up the debris out there, and they're working the process at its natural timeline with getting the insurance stuff taken care of, inventory in the house and all that. They also have, I guess they already have a buyer to buy the house to sell it. And he mentioned something about having it demoed and so forth, so that the buyer's going to properly move forward with taking it down to a clean slate and then hopefully building a nice new house.
Sure.
But they're working the process as the process goes.
Sure, and I mostly wanted people who watch this to know that they came to me and with a concern and we're working on it and the people are well aware of the problem and they're working on it. The check just went to the wrong
It did,
place.
yeah. And they had asked me to, give them a 2-week grace period to kind of get the grass and debris figured out, but that was just the beginning of the week, I think it was. And they're already taking care of that.
Sure.
So they're being diligent about doing it.
I just didn't want John and Brenda to get a cold call for some reason and not know about it. So that's why I asked you to go ahead and touch on that.
Yeah.
Other than that, are you good?
Yep, I'm good.
Okay.
Just 1 second, sir.
Yep.
I would like to see if you can check into the benefits if we were home rule. Also, if you could research what the criteria is, because at one point, if we were at 10,000 residents, it would be, used to,
I actually talked to Brent about this recently.
Okay,
Based
so-
off of the population within the unincorporated area, we would have to go to a vote for that.
okay.
An election.
And then if you're over a certain number, it used to be that a vote of the board unanimously. What
Yeah.
number was that, do you know?
15,000, but it's not total population. It's only in the unincorporated area of the township.
Okay. And where are we at now, do you know?
Um,
They go by the last census, is
I
that
think
correct?
A little under 10.
Okay, so,
No, I thought we were a
I think it was
little,
right over 10.
I thought we were like 11,400 and some.
if we could look at that, and just in case there is an avenue, and the last question is, if we were home rule, would that make your job a little easier? I take that as a yes.
Because home rule will allow the board to pass resolutions that create certain structure that right now you guys can't. And as of right now, literally the only thing that I can do is what the ORC explicitly states I can do. Not what, and there's certain codes of the ORC that explicitly state something we can do. And then there's codes in the ORC that state that the board has authority to XYZ. So with limited home rule, you could utilize what it says the board has the authority to implement. As of right now, I can only do what the ORC explicitly says I can do.
So let me give you this as an example. Down on Harrisburg Pike, any of those car lots and et cetera that are there that are not in compliance, it's my understanding that if we're home rule, we would have the right to, as an agency, to act on it versus waiting on the county to act. So we would be able to utilize our our police department, either you move these or we will. I'll give you another example down here on Klein Road, the good people that have on the corner lot, the people right next door selling all those cars, they graveled the whole front yard. Would we not then have the authority to exercise, either you get to move them or we do?
So that's something more intricate that I'd have to look into before I give you an answer. But I do
Okay.
know with limited home rule, it makes it easier to adopt zoning.
Sure,
codes
sure.
And certain types of property maintenance codes. And I know that there's a bigger umbrella of fear with the whole property maintenance stuff, but on a very simple level, property maintenance as far as outside trash, storage of vehicles, and smaller things like that, I have no control over that. I mean, if it's a whole trash issue, yes, but just, kind of reckless property upkeep, I can't do anything about that.
In my recollection of this, when we looked in it before we put it on the ballot, most people said, oh, it's going to be like an HOA. My understanding of this, unless it's changed over the years, we cannot change Franklin County's rules and regulations. The biggest thing is we could act on those regulations versus turning them over to the county as we do now, as far as some of the junk cars and the different things that we see. And those things, we can use our own service to be able to go in, tag the car, however, 72 hours or whatever it is, that you would have to remove it from your front yard. If you didn't, then we would impound it. Those type of benefits that we have, as an example, the young lady that came earlier that said there's a burnt car in the front yard and the different things. So if our department was to tag that and et cetera, and say you've got 72 hours to remove it or we impound it, a lot of these things would be easier for us. Now, we're not changing the law whatsoever. It's just we're not waiting on Franklin County to be able to send out their letters and go through. It would make us be able to be the agency that acts.
Yeah, so like essentially with, I guess the easiest way to look at it is with limited home rule, it would enable us to do things. It would enable us to take action unless the ORC explicitly prohibits
Correct.
such thing. As of right now, we can only do things that the ORC explicitly says we
Right,
can do.
right.
So that's very small. However, we could do a lot more action if we had limited home rule. We only keep, if the ORC explicitly prohibits something, we cannot supersede that. So that's where the benefit comes in. And that's where people need not be worried, because if the ORC says you cannot do this as a township, you are not allowed to do this, or this said activity is prohibited, or is exempted, we can't say, no, we don't want it to be exempt, we want it to be included. We can't supersede the ORC.
So, Mr. Chairman, just last comment, and for the people at home, what we're talking about would be something that would go on the ballot for people to vote, to be changing the statute of what Franklin Township would be called Franklin Township Home Rule. And by it having those titles enables us to have the freedoms that you spoke on. So people were thinking, well, what is this? It's basically something put on the ballot, changing the narrative of Franklin Township, and with that comes the opportunity for us to work as our own agency without changing the ORC that's currently already there. So thank you, sir.
Can I add one thing? In my opinion, another benefit of having a limited home rule is if you enact certain, requirements, let's say. Right now, we have no recourse. Somebody has a junk car and I send them a letter, I wait 2 weeks, I have it impounded, and then a month from now, they have another junk car. The process just keeps going and going. There's literally no repercussion to them unless like they really didn't want their car impounded, but they could have taken measures to prevent that, but they didn't, and they did it again and again. But with limited home rule, we could actually charge them a violation fee. So like, if the board wanted to make some fee chart that, whatever would be permitted, even giving them a grace period. The first 2 times, there's no charge. Things happen, but maybe the 3rd time, then you have a violation fee. People are eventually not going to want to pay a violation fee. They're going to keep their burn-up car out of their front yard, or their junkyard-looking front yard. They're probably going to not continue doing that after a 2nd and 3rd and 4th violation. And those are fees that the township could decide where you want to put them, but they could then be reinvested into other property cleanup measures and create money in that way. And then I did remember one other thing I had on the agenda about the cleanup for 67 Bellamy. I did not receive any other quotes back from any other companies. I don't know if they took a look at it and said thank you, or if it's just it's getting to be a busy season. But I do have that one quote, which, like I said, seems pretty reasonable, and I hypothetically inquired with them what their time frame would be, and they said that they would be able to move forward fairly quickly after the board made a choice. I did forget to include that in this packet, but as a reminder, the 67 Volney quote was $3,000, and I think it's 40 Brabant, it was like $400, 350 or 450. I think it was 450.
We don't have anything drawn up for that today,
Would you want that for the next meeting?
for sure.
Well, okay. I was gonna say, you don't need to make a new resolution for that, because in the previous resolution declaring it a nuisance property, you guys already gave the authority to move forward with cleanup measures.
Do we have to authorize the cost expenditures?
I don't know, I believe that resolution, it already gave I'll read.
Because we have to have a resolution for,
It gave authority for us to clean up, to contract with a company to clean up the property.
right, but we also have to okay the expenditures.
Okay.
So next meeting?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So that's it. So we're going to move on to new business. Can you do number 1 under new business, Robin?
Yeah, this again is information. I think I've bombarded you guys this week with a whole bunch
you
of
have.
things. I'm so sorry. but
That's
I just wanna
okay.
Make sure you're prepared when things come down the agenda. You're like, oh, okay, I saw that, or I've read that, or I'm familiar with it. And so I wasn't sure how you felt about Columbus's request for a support letter from Franklin Township on they're applying for a grant that is called City of Columbus's Columbus Post-Crash Care Safe Streets and Roads for All application. And so basically, it seems that they were denied the first time they applied, so they're reapplying. And it kind of goes they're talking about 443 traffic fatalities in Columbus from 2019 to 2023, according to the fatality analysis report, 24 child fatalities. Only 34% of those fatalities occurred at the scene of the crash. Columbus Division of Fire, it goes through all the statistics of the things that Columbus does when there's a crash. This grant is necessary to continue the significant momentum in creating safer roadways and the growing number of families in Columbus in the post-crash care most effective across the wide geographic area of central Ohio.
So the growing families in Columbus, it's because they annexed our property, so that's their growing number of families. So, I mean, I'm not supporting this.
So that's why it's in front of you guys to make that decision. So it was emailed to us to make sure you guys got it. And so if this is nothing you want to do, then we move on.
How is Columbus's support? You've been here the longest. How's Columbus's support when you've asked Columbus for support in the past? Because we've not asked since I've been a trustee.
You know, I believe in the Bible when you're supposed to help mankind, and it seems like we're the ones always lending the help. And we're the ones we've given other support for other things that they've had. I would have liked to have seen them step up and support us in this fire levy. It was widely, it was in the news, it was everywhere. You know, we didn't ask, but they obviously know where we were in the fire because mutual aid and they're helping. I just would say I prefer not to get involved in this one.
And we move on to the next item on the agenda. Thank you for taking the time to read everything.
Sure. So we'll move to number 2 under new business, and this is for everybody in the audience and for my fellow trustees. Update on the Franklin Heights Scholarship. Robin and I will be at Franklin Heights tomorrow morning, along with Scooter Mullins' wife, for the presentation. We have determined, the committee has determined the 2 winners for this year, and we will bring them in to a meeting at the Township on June the 25th at noon, and the Mullins family will be making a check presentation at that time. I want to make sure everybody knows no tax dollars have ever been spent on this scholarship fund, and the scholarship fund will be funded for 1 more year. So if you have a senior, or if you have a child at Franklin Heights and is a junior this year and they'll be a senior next year, they would be eligible for the scholarship. We pick 1 boy and 1 girl, and we give a $1,000 scholarship. The person you would want to see at Franklin Heights is Mrs. Emsweiler, and I think that pretty much covers it, but I wanted you guys to be aware and fully know where we're at.
Chairman, I have things for everybody to sign related to the scholarship.
Okay.
So this is their certificate that they'll get along with their check, if you don't mind.
So they're not coming in this year for us to?
No, they
Yeah.
will on the 25th.
Yeah, this is to give
Tomorrow,
them a
no one
presentation.
knows who's getting them.
Okay.
This is just something we're going to give them tomorrow, no check, anything, because
Use this pen so
the
everybody's
students
the same.
who receive this tomorrow, they have to get back to us with a copy of their schedule at a college. There's more steps that have to go on in order for them to receive the money.
So, Mr. Chairman, if I may,
Sure.
I would like to thank you and your family for participating in this. This is something that's close to your heart that you started, and $1,000 can make a long ways for books, course. I know when I went to High State, I remember the $500 for my courses was the hardest $500 to come up with at that time. And I'm sure that this makes a difference in not only the dollars, but someone receiving something gives them that little bit more energy to put 1 more foot forward. It's a support type. So what you guys have, you as well as Robin's participated in this, and everyone else that has put this in on their own time. As you said, it wasn't from the township, so I commend you for this.
I appreciate that. It has been something that I wanted to do, and it's near and dear to my family. And we went to Franklin Heights. My wife went to Franklin Heights, my sisters, and everything like that. And so I'm happy to do it, but I want to make sure that people understood, because we had been asked in the past, and that never has there been any taxpayers' money spent on the scholarship fund, nor will there for this year or next year. So I appreciate you guys giving me the time to do that. And I want to also state, I almost forgot, appreciation to the Mullins family for allowing us to rename the scholarship. It's this year. The name has been changed. I'm sure Robin probably has the exact name. I don't have it. Go ahead, ma'am.
The family gave the name to Trustee Blevins as the firefighter Stewart Mullins Memorial Scholarship Fund. And so Mrs. Mullins will be joining us at the high school tomorrow. She did send an email to me this morning saying she's not sure how much she can verbally say because she still gets pretty emotional. And I told her that her and I have this, and
Yep.
she will be just fine. You know, so I want to make sure she feels comfortable in presenting to the students.
Sure. I don't know if you trustees saw it or not. I'm sure you did. That Julie wrote to us about the discussion on the FOP Lodge 9's contract.
Yes, I read it was very refreshing to see the study that was done too, if you've happened to take a look at that.
I went through it real quick, but I didn't get, I want to get into it more. I just got it today. So we have met on this topic in executive session and just had discussions. So are you going to reach out to the officers and their attorney and things and set up meetings, John? Or how do you want to proceed? Because
So-
the time's running short.
Yes, so, you know, I don't know if the board is okay. I mean, I sat through a lot of these, and I haven't done a whole lot since Julie was handling it. I didn't know if Julie was going to be the person, the agency, to handle it and bring it back to the board as such as we've done with other unions. I didn't know for sure the flavor of the board and how they wish to send a board member to sit in on negotiations, or how would you like to proceed?
Well, I want to take Mr. Hinkle's words to heart. We were lambasted by him in the audit.
Okay.
And one of the things he said to us is that we need to always include fiscal when we go to negotiate contracts.
Sure.
And things like that and everything. And so me being one of the trustees, I think we have to have fiscal involved. That would probably be Mr. Kirby at this point in time.
Okay.
Byron, you did a budget, correct?
Yes.
And you have a figure in your budget. I don't need the figure, but you have a figure in your budgets for things, we're just going to say.
Yeah.
When we have had you in a meeting in executive session too, which we're allowed to do and we've talked about, I, for one, would love for Julie to be involved in it because I don't think any of us are, I mean, I know I've been in a union and I know Brenda's been in a union and stuff, but it's, I think this is a totally different animal. I'm just sorry, I just do. I think this is a different thing. It was hard to go against that thing from Columbus when Robin read it, when it was talking about children getting hurt and children getting killed and things like that, and wrecks and things like that. Your heart goes out to that. Well, I can tell you from hands-on experience, you do not want to go against first responders in any way, shape, or form. And it's not me going against them, it's the position that we hold. We have to negotiate a contract, which is wages and benefits and things like that. And we're put in a position by the taxpayers to be good stewards of the money, as you said earlier.
Sure.
And so there's tough decisions that are going to have to be made and stuff like that. And so I assure you that they're going to have Jackie, which is their lawyer, be there, and it would be prudent for us to have a lawyer there, in my opinion.
Okay.
Did you have anything, ma'am?
No, I agree with you.
So if it's the pleasure of the board, then we will just wait until what Julie, and then bring back to the board, and we are yay or nay, or look it over, and I will sit this out. Is that the pleasure of the board? Or do you want me to sit in on it, or it's up to you guys?
So.
I'm okay either way.
So Julie's, her last two messages said, let her know if we want to, her office to do anything. So first and foremost, we're going to need to reach out to her office and say, we want you to handle it.
Okay, so she's handling it.
And
Do you
then,
wish to
do we
have-
want to, go ahead, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. So with her handling it, do we want a representative? I sat through a few of them, and I'm fine either way. Do we want to just have the trustees stay out of it, and then basically Julie notifies us on this, that, and the other, and how do you feel about this? And then our job is to pass a resolution when an agreement's made.
I'm good with that if that's what Julie wants. I'm not sure Julie has all the working, I guess she would. I don't know. I'm just hearing this for the first time. Can we just reach out to Julie and see
Sure.
what she thinks is the best
Yeah. So-
way to, I'll make the phone call and ask her what's the best way to
Okay, and just
move
let us
forward.
know
And then
if they
I'll
want a
send something out.
representative. I'm fine to sit in. If not,
I'm talking about I'll
fine.
make the phone call to Julie to find out
Right,
how
right.
we should handle it with her.
But what, I think that John should sit in because it's not just gonna be their attorney against our attorney.
No, they're gonna have people there.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
And that's what I thought you
and
had
I
said
think
you
that
were going
John
to
should
do
be
it.
there.
Yeah, I would, but I didn't have a clear deciseness of what we were going to do. I sat through negotiations before, and it's never easy because it's going to be, I would guess, 10 different meetings by the time we work through it and say, no, we're not doing that or this. I mean, it's never easy because you have one side of the table shooting for the stars, and we just want them to land at the moon. Obviously, we want to pay what we can pay based upon budgets, and I get it. We can't pay the departments. Like the chart was a great chart that I read, and Franklin County is the one paying the most, but it gave different, Jerome, I think it gave all the different townships in that as well as villages, and it gave a good light because my thought would have been, that would have been a good thing for me to go, okay, here's what we're basing it off of.
Well, all of our departments make less money than any other township.
I understand that, yeah.
So, I mean, I know that we have a budget and that kind of thing, but, you get what you pay for.
Right, and also in the negotiation, there's a lot of different things. It's one of the biggest things that I'm proud to say at this point in time is we may not pay the most, but we do have the best package put together to supplement that. And we have a firefighter that is getting ready to have twins. And they're not going to be burdened with the medical issue that goes with that. So some of that, people stay here for that reason. As the old saying, a slow nickel's better than a fast dime. But we need to keep a good balance there. And of course, whatever goes on in there, I bring back to here. It's not like I'm making a decision for the board.
So can I change something up? Because I'm in agreement with Brenda. If you guys want John to sit in on it, I'm 100% confident that he'll do what he just said and get back with us. So would you reach out to Julie?
I can do that.
That way you and her can get dates, and
Okay.
you can get with Jackie and the police committee and get dates, and then you guys can start setting up meetings.
Sure.
There's no reason for me to call Julie to say what's going to work with you if you're going to do it. And I have no problem with you doing it. I just, like it was with Westland Mall and the MSG and everything, it'd be like Brenda, who handles MSG. Everything needs to come back to the board. You know what I'm trying to say? Everyone
Absolutely.
needs to have all the
Yeah,
information,
there's
and
no
that's what they're
decisions.
saying.
Right, there's no decisions
So
made there.
can we just leave it at that today,
Right.
that you'll reach out to
Yeah.
Julie and get the ball rolling?
Yeah, and what I'm going to do with Julie, I'm going to ask her to take the lead so that she will be the person saying, is this date's good with everybody? And let her guide the ship, and then I will sit through them and report back to the board as well as Julie would as well.
I just wanted to get the ball rolling since they did not want to extend. We're just going to leave it at that.
And,
So we got a little over a month. We have 6 weeks, I think.
I would-
Not 6, though, really.
I'm anxious to get in front of everyone and see if that could change in any way.
Okay. And then I'm going to move on to, you're good with that decision?
Yes,
About
sir.
that? I'm going to let Robin speak on this. She set this up, and I think it was from a conversation or a phone call she had with you, John, on number 4. Ma'am, would you go ahead and explain what this is?
Yeah, this is a new potential benefit broker, the Go Hand Brawl vendor. They presented to us back in April of 2025, this is before your time. You may have been in the audience.
I was in the audience.
And they came in and gave their presentation on their services as a benefit broker. I believe they may have reached out to you, John, like in this latter part of last year, early part of this year. They said they'd spoken to you, maybe it was an email, I don't know.
Yeah, I remember speaking, it might have been a year ago.
Yeah, but it's been a little bit, but they've reached out saying they would like to have another opportunity because when they came in last spring, the board chose not to change brokers at that time. And so they would ask for another opportunity. And so they weren't available for this meeting here because the last time I met with them, because they actually came in and spoke with me a few weeks ago, and that was before the meeting times got changed. And so when they circled back to me, I said, I just want to let you know the meeting times have changed. So their ability wasn't at this meeting, it's available for the next meeting. So I just wanted to let the entire board know, because I ran it by the chairman to make sure it was okay to put it on the agenda for the 28th, that they'll be coming in for, I said no more than 15 minutes, we'll try to keep it brief, presentation on their services. They went over a few things with me. They've actually been sending me some like webinars that I could be a part of at no cost. They're just sending these around benefits and employee relations and different things like that, just out of the courtesy. They will use Employee Navigator, which is what we currently already use. So there's not going to be a lot of impact from the staffing side of things. The only difference would be who they would contact would be the difference. So instead of talking with Brian Lenzo's team, you would be talking with a different team of people. Yes, sir.
So I remember them coming in. It was very impressive. I liked everything that they did. In the past, I felt that the current person that we used dropped the ball, which ended up costing us more money because we didn't get X, Y, or Z done in time or go out to shop in time. I thought that the other team that came in gave a great presentation. But to be truthful, Robin, I have to lean on your department and you because you're the one that works with them on a daily basis. Us as trustees, only time I talk to the current broker that we have is if I have a problem, a question, or something of that nature, which may be once every 18 months or something, if that. So I think that when we have them come in, I think it's very crucial that you kind of then have a meeting with the board to say, this is where we would benefit or what you would think that this team could offer versus the other team. Because at the end of the day, I'm hearing you that we're using the same software, we're using the same thing. What can they bring that's any different? Can they shop better than we can? Are they going to be a better component when it goes out to shop? And is it going to be a better component with the amount of people that they have working for them that you're able to get a hold of someone and they can take the ball and run with it? That is what I took away from the last one. It was the fact that they have people just for Franklin Township that you would more work with. From that component, as busy as we're getting and you're getting in your office, I would ask you to see, do you need 4 doors or 2 doors?
Right, and the thing I was talking to them about is like, because they asked me like some of the processes we do internally, and, one of the things that I saw from, a benefits down from on my end, and I'm not being selfish, I'm just sharing, because you asked me the question about
Sure.
what makes them a little different. One of the things is when we onboard an employee, like Mr. Stevens is bringing on a new person, I send the link out to Employee Navigator to that person. They thus then fill out their benefits and what they prefer to have. That email then comes back to me again, and then I have to turn around and then send it to the current provider that we, benefit provider. If for some reason I'm not here, some reason I'm on medical leave, some reason that email, that once the employee hits send and it comes to my email box, if it gets lost in my email, goes to spam, whatever, then that employee's benefits don't start. And so the way they work it is their employee navigator is connected to each one of the providers. So as soon as the new employee hits send, it does come to me so that I have record, but then it also heads off to Medical Mutual, Delta Dental, VSP,
Wow.
automatically. Like, so it's happened where I've sent the information to our current benefit broker, and whatever's happened, I'll get the invoice, and that new employee's not on there. And I understand it may take a couple of months, but I should see them by the 60 day, which would be the second month, and I don't see them. I go back and look for my email, do my searches, and then where I've sent it to the broker, and then they write back and say, sorry, we don't know what happened. And they may have sent it on and Medical Mutual dropped the ball or whatever. But I've had instances where people are not getting enrolled on time, and or I just recently had someone removed that left us in June of 2025. But I just now finally got them off the bill. So they sent us a nice big credit that every month I'm paying for this person because I'm not allowed to take them off. I don't have the authority, none of us do. It's the insurance industry. I have to keep paying. I keep saying, by the way, they're still here. By the way, hello. And then this month, when I got the bill for May, there's all these months of credits for this person. So did they make it right? They did. But I think that's going to bridge that gap somewhere. We've got that straight line to directly to the insurance industry, to each one of the industry providers that we use for medical, dental, vision, life. So that's just one that I wanted to share with you.
So to sum it up, for the conversation, are you and Brenda interested in them coming in, and I'll use my terminology, giving us the Reader's Digest version of their program? Or are you saying you want Robin to get the program and then make a decision and bring it back to the board? The ask of them was 15 minutes or less.
right.
So
And-
are you interested in that at the next meeting?
Well, yes, I am interested in hearing it, and I think it's more important that the taxpayers that actually are flipping the bill for it get to see who we are picking as a board. But in the long end, what Robin just shared with me, I never had a clue that any of that was going on. So that is where you're the specialist. I always say that if I have dental work done, I'm only 8 inches from my brain, but I'm not going to use the dentist to do my brain surgery. So you're my brain surgeon because I want to give you the best tools that I can give you. And if switching with this other broker is going to, to me, it's a no-brainer because what you just explained to me alleviates any problems or hiccups that could cost this township. Let's say the person had a heart attack and they thought they had insurance. Are we going to pick up the cost out of our general fund for that person's medical because they weren't actually on the medical? So these little things that you're telling me obviously is like having an insurance policy in case your house catches on fire. We need to have the best that we can get and make life easier for you and your department so that everybody is covered.
Yeah, there's no cost to change brokers.
Right.
I mean, you're just switching over. They'll provide the same, if not better, because that's the whole point of the presentation. I think they want to just really showcase. They sat down and asked me, what are things that the board's looking for, And I said, I can't look through all your lenses. Like, I don't know. But I said, they're looking for what makes you different. And so you brought that up today. And I'd already mentioned that to them.
Sure.
To say, we're doing fine with who we have, but there's some hiccups in there. So what can you bring that's
Absolutely.
going to take you over the top?
Yeah.
So let's confirm them for 2 weeks, please. We'll bring them in right at the top, okay? Okay, moving on, fiscal department, and I don't see Ms. Justice, so going to move on to...
Mr. Chairman, if I may
Yes,
real quick, I didn't mean to
sure.
interrupt you.
Nope.
Has anyone reached out, let her know that the meetings have been changed to noon? If we could just send an email, just out a reminder that the meetings are at noon.
You can save your step of emailing me. I'll go ahead and text her.
Okay.
I did let her know about the doors.
Okay,
Robin reached out to me yesterday and she said, you need to reach out to our fiscal officer about, what her method of entry would be. So
I just didn't want to come
And she
back
got back
with.
right with me, so.
I just wanted to let you know that, didn't nobody tell me what time I had to be here today. I sort of knew that.
Right, right. But I didn't want to hear later that, I mean, I know it's
No,
crazy.
I get what you're
Yeah.
saying.
Yeah, I just didn't want to get, well, I forgot to do that.
You know what time the check comes.
Yeah,
I got it.
Moving on to 5, ma'am. Administrative clerk, please. I'm going to let you this almost looks like every bit of it is you, but let's start with A, please.
Okay, this is a motion to approve accounts payable. Be it resolved by the Board of Trustees of Franklin Township, Franklin County, Ohio, that the board makes a motion to approve accounts payable from April the 28th, 2026 through May the 8th, 2026 in the amount of $277,090.87 from electronic payment ACH voucher numbers 1104-2026 through 1208-2026. And was an exhibit.
I accept the motion as read. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Discussion? Hearing none, take a roll call.
Trustee Fleshman.
Yes.
Trustee Blevins.
Yes.
Trustee Fuller.
Yes,
Okay. This is a motion to approve payroll. Be it resolved by the Board of Trustees of Franklin Township, Franklin County, Ohio, the board makes a motion to approve the employee payroll for the period of April 19th through May the 1st in the amount of $155,589.45. Direct deposit occurred on May the 8th. Electronic vouchers 1146-2026 through 1189-2026. There's an exhibit as well.
I accept the motion as read. Can I get a second?
I will second.
Discussion? Hearing none, we'll take a roll call.
Trustee Fleshman.
Yes.
Trustee Blevins.
Yes.
Trustee Fuller.
yes,
Okay, a motion to approve elected officials' monthly compensation. Be resolved by the Board of Trustees of Franklin Township, Franklin County, Ohio, that the board makes a motion to approve the elected officials' compensation for the period of April 1st through April the 30th, 2026, the amount of $9,625.34. Direct deposit occurred on May 1st. Electronic vouchers 11/17/2026 through 11/20/2026. There's an exhibit as well.
I accept the motion as read. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Trustee Fleshman.
Yes.
Trustee Blevins.
Yes.
Trustee Fuller.
yes,
And this is another invoice that's came in from the Manick Smith Group. And I know the last invoices that came through, we did motions
Just
for.
shut off. This just shut off. Okay, sorry. Go ahead, ma'am, I'm sorry. It made a noise and then it went black screen, so I was just letting you know.
Says that the memory's full, so we'll just have to
What'd you say?
rely on a video for the time being.
Sorry about that, I just heard a noise and looked down, I wanted to let somebody know.
I couldn't tell with the screen. Thank you. This is a motion to authorize payment to the Manick Smith Group. This is the engineering firm that is working on the boulevard over at Westland Mall. Trustee Fuller is a part of that group as far as the representation for the township. So this is their latest invoice that's came in, part of that $1 million grant. So this is a motion to authorize payment to the Manick Smith Group. Be it resolved by the Board of Trustees of Franklin Township, Franklin County, Ohio, that the board makes a motion to authorize a payment to the Manick Smith Group for the agreement outlined in Resolution 2026-039. Payment may be made per the description of services outlined in invoice 42637 in the amount of $63,909.90.
I accept the motion as read, can I get a second?
I will second that.
Discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Trustee Fleshman.
Yes.
Trustee Blevins.
Yes.
Trustee Fuller.
yes,
And then the next one is discussion around the building access. And I emailed everyone before the meeting. I'll give you these paper copies to make it a little easier to see. These are
Thank you.
so we're at the stage of the new lock system. The the actual hardware and everything has been installed. The keypads have been put at these listed buildings. The spreadsheet is basically the locations at Frank Road and the locations at Sullivan Avenue. And also it has every employee's name listed, and I sent an email out earlier in the week asking for all the employees' preferences on which type of building access device they wanted, because there's a key fob, a key card, or mobile access. And so that's what the first few columns are identified as, and then everything else, all the little X's, is the department heads' choices on access for their employees. And so if you can, take a look at this, if there's anything on here that is of a concern, where you see the yellow boxes, those are going to be for just PIN-only access. And what I mean by PIN-only is like on page 1 on the left column, it says, SWAC, which is the Southwest Area Commission, which we spoke about earlier on page 1.
I'm sorry. Do you have a copy of this to look at for me to ask you a question? Under Arnold, you don't have him any access to anything.
And skip over him, that's my apologies.
Who was that?
Bob Arnold?
Oh, I didn't even get to that
Because it
part.
shifted, I had to shift down, so actually what is under Bocock should move up, so my apologies.
No, I'm just asking, I'm not like
So
trying
When
to,
I was moving, when I had to insert the lines that are under at the bottom where it says Columbus Police Department and Medical Director, it shifted a little bit, so this will be modified.
okay?
But the yellow, where it says 4-digit PIN and there's some yellow highlights, those particular lines would be just for a PIN only. They wouldn't need a fob or a key card. And these are based on department heads letting, notifying me that they have, like the Columbus Police Department and the Medical Director are at the fire department often. The police department utilizes the bathrooms and things at Station 192. And so there would just be a PIN created for the Columbus Police Department. Same with our police department. The Franklin County Sheriff's Office utilizes our police department's restroom, and they would have a PIN for. So when that PIN number shows up in our portal, we would know that Franklin County Sheriff's Office utilized our building for said period of time. And then under Jim Stevens, I have seasonal help 1 and 2 for summer help. And he doesn't have those individuals identified at this time, but because they're seasonal, they would get a PIN, and then as soon as their time is over, we would just deactivate that PIN number. Okay? And the same thing with the Southwest Area Commission. They utilize the building once a month, so it can be there. What's nice about this whole system is it's designed where we can pretty much, like the area commission could be designed where that door opens on that said second Tuesday of the month, and it's available to be open from 5:30 to 9:30. Like, I don't know how long the meetings run for, but that's it.
So their PIN will only be
Usable
usable
on
during
that
those
date.
couple hours.
Window of time, because like right now, the PIN, when you get the PIN to the back door, they can come in here 24/7, because there's no restriction on the PIN number itself. And it's identified specifically to the Southwest Area Commission. So, and you guys could say, okay, I want you to lock that PIN in from this time to this time only. And that means that that's the only access they'll have for the building. And it's the same thing with anyone, if you want to say, like, for instance, I'm just going to say for myself, I mean, I'm typically here during business hours, and so if my access is not available on the weekend, then I wouldn't have access on the weekend.
I don't think
You know what I
that
mean?
that's,
I'm just using it as an example.
Right.
But I'm just saying if that's the flexibility within the software. So I just use that as an example, maybe
Sure,
a poor
sure.
one, but just like telling the board that there is, where it can be set times for any of these items. So I will correct, because that's what happened is it shifted down when I did that insert.
I did look at it when you sent it to me, and I'm good with it, and then it did help when you gave me the hard copy. But I had looked at the yellow ones that you had highlighted. I figured out why you had them highlighted. It makes sense, like you said, with the 1 and 2 on the road department, being the guys that come in for summer help and stuff like that. So for me personally, if this is a discussion or whatever, I'm good with the way you have it set up, so.
Yeah, because what happens next is, I'll correct Bob, because if you just shift up, so the only thing I mean, Bob has access to everything, but, and this was his choice, these were all department head choices, this wasn't Robin selecting the choices. He selected except the police department. He doesn't feel that there's necessary that he needs to have access to police. So when you shift that up, you'll see that that's.
Sure.
Take him off your Christmas list, he don't want to come over.
Take that personal.
Those Beatles,
But no, so what happens next, just so you guys kind of know the process, is if the board's good with this layout, then what happens is the next phase is I will fill in the 4-digit PIN numbers, and it'll just be generated numbers. Like, I'm not gonna have any rhyme or reason unless somebody has a specific number that is just locked in their head and that's what they need to do, 4-digit, I'm happy to do that. I'm not gonna ban anybody for picking their own number. But in general, I'm just basically just gonna go in and set up my computer to give me, 50 4-digit random numbers, and I'm gonna just plug them in. The reason I didn't put them on here today is because those numbers are identifiable to each and every employee. Not that the board doesn't need to see that.
There's less paper out there, we don't need
Right,
it.
less exposure, and so those numbers are not on here yet. But what would happen next is that the 4-digit numbers will be put into this last column. Bob will be corrected, and then we send this over to Johnson Controls, who's the one that did the install, and they're basically going to put all of this into the software. And then next week or the following week, they would be coming in with your selection of the key fob, key card, mobile access. They'd be coming in with those devices for each department.
I got a question.
Yes, ma'am.
So I noticed here that you and Nicole both have the mobile access and the key fob.
You're allowed to have both if you
Well,
want.
Okay, so how do you access the mobile access, I guess is what I'm
It's
asking.
a
Is there an
mobile-
app?
it's an
and
app. It's a
and-
mobile app, yeah.
And then what, it brings up like a barcode or
You
something
just-
like that?
And
and you
there's
s-
like it's just like if you were at a hotel and you've got your key card and you tap it, you just pull the app up on your phone, tap the key fob, and the door would unlock.
Okay.
So because sometimes in case I would leave the fob or, I'm going to put it on my car keys.
Or my
but,
keys are buried down in my purse
I
or
can't get it to
something
activate, you're digging around, usually I have one of those two things with me.
in your hand at all
Right.
times, yeah.
So, but again, if the board would prefer that we only have one option, I'm okay with that.
No, I'm,
Because I asked them, can they have more than one? And he said, sure, maybe a lot of people have the mobile and one of the other two options.
okay.
So,
Great work. I've been wanting to see this for
I
a
was
long
gonna say,
time.
it's
Yeah.
been, Byron, you set in on the very beginning, you know exactly what we're talking about, and thank you for all your work too.
This has been years, I've been
Byron-
saying.
Byron's
Started the whole
been,
thing.
yep, he's been running around with these people, but, phew. So we're good on this then?
Yep, there's no
We're good.
action.
Okay, thank you.
F, ma'am.
Yes, moving right along. The GBS Corporation, which was the resolution that the board passed, I think at the last meeting, to start scanning. They stopped in this week and picked up boxes for 2025 that we have back here in the room. And I think, and then after we hit 2025, we'll kind of decide from there, like what we're doing. Because that's going to make us audit ready, for the next audit.
Sure.
Because I know that that's coming up in our conversation here in a minute as we move down a couple more about the auditors. But it would be great when the next time, when they go to do, because right now it's 2020 through 2024 that they're auditing, when they come in to want to do 25, a thumb drive, and not 20 boxes. They're going to be looking at us like, what happened to Franklin Township? You know what I mean? And so what's nice about the scanning is they will scan every single document. They're not going to sit, like if something gets caught, they're going to know it, and they're going to ensure that everything is there. And with having Tarina here as our extra additional clerical staff, she's been able to ensure that everything in 2026 is being scanned moving forward. So she's gotten into the file cabinets, even though she didn't start until March, she went back to January and started scanning all the way through. And she is staying up to date to this day, like she's back in there checking her numbers and making sure everything's where it's supposed to be. So I feel very confident in that aspect. And then we had some things in here in this conference room that were like building permit type things and stuff like that. So we had them take a few of those items. But again, that's kind of where we're at. And what he said he will do, which I think is very kind, is he's going to scan so much and then let me know the cost and say, okay, we're at,
Yeah.
$400. Do you want me to continue on? And then I'll come back to the board and say, they've scanned this much and this is how much it's costing. And do you want them to pause? Do you want them to proceed? So he's not going to run it all through and say, oh, by the way, here's your $20,000 bill. That's not how
Right.
they operate. So just so you know that it is still board controlled.
Okay.
Okay? And then the timekeeping system. The board passed a resolution a month or so ago around the timekeeping plus timekeeping system. And I'm on to my third in the phase of this training and implementation. So each piece of it has been this is what we need from you. It was like meeting number 1, then I sent them those things. And meeting number 2 was taking the information that I gave them, like employee names, departments, different things like that. Then they pulled all that up and they're showing me, is that correct? And then this one here is number 3, which is basically leave balances, accruals, any language around the collective bargaining agreements, things like that is in phase 3. And then we will eventually get to continue to where we'll be pulling in Byron and Jim Stevens and the folks that are impacted by this timekeeping system to begin their part of understanding how it works. But that's in motion as well. So I'll keep you guys, I just wanted to keep you updated on these projects as they continue to evolve.
Thank you.
Last one, ma'am.
Yes. And then I received an email this morning from Mr. Bates, who is your lead auditor for the audit for 2020 through 2024. And I believe when he was here from initially, he said he would like to have occasional update meetings with the board. And so he asked if I would reach out to the board and find out. He remembered hearing that you guys try to keep your Thursdays open. And so that's why he said he unfortunately had a couple Thursdays that didn't fit. So he gave me the one for May the 28th and then the one for June the 11th, I believe. And I know that I heard back from a couple of the trustees, and I'm sorry if I didn't hear back from you or I didn't
I would
see it.
prefer the 28th, but I could do either one.
Well, that's majority board. I mean, that's unanimous, because that's where I got the other 2 dates back from the other trustees.
Okay, so-
28th is, I can let him know if the board's good with that. I can let
Yeah.
Mr. Bates know.
I think we
that.
said 10 o'clock, wasn't that
I
correct?
think it was 10 o'clock,
So
yeah.
I let him know that your meeting was at 12, and he said that way there's no running, we did it at 11, and it started running over a little bit,
Yeah.
that you weren't impacted to your regular meeting.
I prefer that myself. I think you do too,
Yeah.
both of you, so.
So
All right.
auditors, I just want to make sure, so the auditors, next meeting, so it'll be 5 at 10 a.m. Okay, I'll make sure he knows.
Okay, well, public comments, anybody have anything to say? We're going to give you a couple of minutes that has to do germane to what was said in this meeting. And is there anybody has any questions or any comments or concerns or anything? Okay, moving on, trustees updates, I have none. Mr. Fleshman?
I just have one. I went to the Central Baptist Church for the sidewalks. One of the things I've asked them to do, Robin, is to reach out to you. If we could put on the website and our Facebook for the people in that area. They're going to put concrete back further than the easement in order to facilitate whatever. So the people are benefiting because they're getting concrete driveway back further, but they need to sign not a petition, but a waiver, called a waiver. And we wanted to, and I asked the engineer to basically get in contact with you or Nicole that we could do that. So when people came, there was probably 10 people that came to that. It was almost like doing the fire levy thing. They came to the church, they showed them their property and where that setback was going to be. So basically the setback in some areas, they need to concrete back a little further There was some people that had questions for me about, okay, am I going to be responsible for the sidewalks and et cetera? I referred it to the engineer and he went over the information with the snow removal and all of that. So a lot of people are excited to see the sidewalks in their community where they did not have sidewalks before. So that's just catching the board up to speed on last Thursday evening's meeting.
Thank you. Brenda?
I just want to say that the calming devices on El Paso, I think are doing a phenomenal job.
Yeah.
And it's really slowed traffic down in that area. But Robin, I also want to say congratulations, Miss Clerical Lead, and it's been a long time coming, and I think it's well deserved.
Okay, let's get us out of here. Make a motion to approve the audio, video, and meeting summary as the official record and minutes of today's meeting. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Discussion? Hearing none, can I get a roll call?
Trustee Fleshman.
Yes.
Trustee Blevins.
Yes.
Trustee Fuller.
Yes,
And then lastly, next regular meeting will be Thursday, May the 28th at 12 noon, and we are adjourned at 12 minutes after 2. Yes, sir. I agree.